There's only one type of support you have to reject because it's buying you off. The worst news you could possibly hear in your life isn't that nobody supports you. The worst news is that the support you're waiting for is the very thing slowly breaking you. Know why? Because the moment you wait for someone to push you forward, you hand them the steering wheel. And here's the question that will turn your whole mind upside down. Why is it that every time you try to gather support around you, you slow down even more? And here's the contradiction most people aren't ready to face. Solitude isn't always a punishment. Sometimes it's the strongest weapon a person can have if they want to become their own master. Picture the scene. You're sitting in your room, phone in your hand, scrolling through your chats, not a single message saying, "Keep going." You look around and the people you thought were the closest to you, they're busy, silent, or they toss you a quick emoji, and that's it. Your heart starts beating a little faster, and there's a voice inside you whispering, "Maybe I'm not important. Maybe my dream is too much. Maybe they're right." That moment, that's the moment that splits people in two. 99% see it as an insult from life, and they collapse, asking for explanations, complaining, borrowing warmth from the herd. But the 1%, the ones with an appetite for sovereignty, see it as a starting signal, not an ending. Let me tell you something before we go any further. I'm not here to sell you the fantasy of just stop needing people, period. Human beings are social creatures, yes, but there's a difference between relationships that make you stronger and relationships that buy your comfort today and sell your future tomorrow. And that is exactly what Machiavelli warned about in a brutally practical way. Someone else's weapons, someone else's support, will either fall off your back at the first bump, weigh you down, or wrap around your neck. And that's not poetry. That's the logic of power. And stay with me until the end, because at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the most dangerous part of this journey: how to deal with people when they suddenly come back after you start winning and try to steal your story by saying "we." But before that, we need to destroy the myth of support. You were raised on the idea that success is a group project, school with group assignments, a society that worships connections, and that memorized line, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." That line sounds realistic, but it plants poison in your mind. It tells you that without people, you're nothing. And that means your fate depends on their mood. Their mood changes, they leave. Their jealousy kicks in, they attack. They have a bad day, they dump it on you. The danger isn't that people might not help you. The danger is tying your oxygen to whether they help you or not. This is where 0 point comes in. 0 point is the moment when you look at your bank account, your relationships, your resources, and realize that what's really left is just you. Most people are terrified of 0 because 0 means no guarantees. But listen to the psychological shift. 0 also means no masters. No one gets to tell you, "I made you." No one gets to pull their support and drag your confidence out with it. That's the first secret of succeeding without support. 0 is not emptiness. 0 is territory that belongs to you. And of course, your mind will try to resist and say, "But I need encouragement. I need somebody to believe in me." That is called hunger for recognition, and it is one of the most dangerous social addictions there is, because that hunger makes you crawl toward people with your project before it's ready and start negotiating your dreams so they'll approve of it. And that's the first fatal mistake most people make. They ask for love before they build value. Machiavelli said that if you must choose between being loved and being feared, it is safer to be feared. That doesn't mean you should be cruel to people, but understand the psychological meaning. Love here equals need. Fear here equals respect produced by capability. Need leaks through your words, your justifications, your over-explaining, and people sense need the way they smell blood in the water. That's part of power dynamics. The one who asks too much loses control of the frame. You'll notice it in your own life. Every time you explain your vision to someone who can't see it, they don't become a believer, they become a judge. They evaluate you, mock you, compare you, and turn their fears into facts. And in that moment, you're standing in front of a small test. Are you going to defend yourself, or are you going to control the frame? Let me give you the first power tactic: silence as dominance. The weak response, no, that's not what I mean. I actually have a plan. Just wait, hear me out. And then you keep explaining. The strong response, pause for half a second, look at them calmly, and say one sentence, I hear your point. Then stop talking, and either change the subject or walk away. Why is that powerful? Because you refuse to play the game of proof. Silence here is not escape. Silence is a declaration. I do not need a courtroom. And if someone keeps pushing and says, so, what are you going to do? Show me. That's where the second tactic comes in, question reversal. The weak response, I'm going to do this and this and this, and you hand them details they can tear apart with sarcasm. The strong response, good question. Tell me this, how do you think a person proves themselves without asking permission? Now you've shifted the pressure onto them and opened a crack that exposes their mindset. The person attacking you usually feeds on your need to defend yourself. But let's get back to the bigger game. Succeeding without support doesn't require encouragement. It requires a different kind of fuel. That fuel is called defiance. It sounds like this, I'm going to do it in spite of your silence. And here's the truth that will surprise you. The people who don't support you actually give you an advantage because they force you to operate like an asymmetrical force. A large army moves slowly. A giant committee argues in meetings, but you, alone, can change your direction in an hour because there's no one you have to ask. And imagine this simple cinematic scene. You walk into a family gathering and somebody asks loudly in front of everyone, so you're still chasing that nonsense of yours? Your blood gets hot, your heart starts pounding, and you want to fire back with something that protects your dignity. Right there, a status protection battle starts happening inside you. You're not defending your project, you're defending your image. And that is a trap, because the person in front of you is not trying to understand. Their goal is to win over the audience in that moment. This is where you use the fogging tactic from assertiveness training. Agree with the part that contains truth and reject the judgment. The weak response, you don't understand, it's not nonsense, I've worked hard. The strong response, that's fair, I am still at the beginning, and yeah, it can look empty until the results show up. Then you stop talking. Fogging kills the attack because there's nothing left for them to grab onto. You acknowledge something without collapsing, and that proves emotional control. Now, come with me into the most important stage, the ghost phase. The ghost phase means this: if there's no audience clapping, then there's no reason to perform. If there's no support, then there's no need to announce anything. And this is a dark psychology principle in its healthy form. Most people talk about their dreams because they want a dose of attention, so their tension gets soothed, and then they stall. Research has even found that when your identity-related intentions become socially known, a wider gap can form between intention and action, as if your brain starts feeling like you already became that person before you even did the work. That's why the ghost does not talk. So become a ghost. No, wait for the surprise coming soon. No, I'm about to change everything. No posts borrowing applause. Let your work be the announcement. And something strange happens here. When you keep the goal locked inside you, the pressure rises like a boiling kettle. People get scared of pressure, so they vent. But you have to learn how to convert pain into production. Listen carefully to that phrase, convert pain into production, because pain is raw energy, and an intelligent person turns raw material into something useful. Psychology calls this sublimation, turning socially unacceptable drives or emotions into something constructive. Instead of letting loneliness drag you toward dark comedy or addictions, let it drag you toward the page, the computer, the gym, learning, attempt number 200. But wait, there's something nobody likes to tell you. Working alone hurts, and this is the part nobody talks about. You're going to have to hold a funeral, not for somebody else, but for a version of yourself. The version that imagined people would understand. The version that was waiting for a father, a mother, a friend, a partner to say, I believe in you. You have to bury that version, because as long as it's alive, it will keep knocking on doors, begging to be seen. There will be nights when you stare at the ceiling and say, what if I'm wrong? What if they are right? That is called the Valley of Shadows. The Valley of Shadows is not motivational fluff. It means you left the herd, but you still haven't reached the result. And that is the most dangerous place to be, because your mind starts generating hallucinations there. Go back, it was safer over there.
But Stoicism tells you something cold. Separate what is under your control from what is not. Epictetus said some things are in our control, our actions and judgments, and some things are not, like reputation, money, and other people's opinions. If you attach yourself to their opinion, then you are attaching yourself to something that belongs to somebody else. And that leads us to a principle that matters more than most people realize. Break dependence. Breaking dependence does not mean hating people. It means refusing to let your fate depend on their instability. And now I'm going to raise the stakes in the middle of this video, because this is the moment where a lot of people check out. The real trap is not that nobody supports you. The real trap is that you start working just to spite them. Yes, spite can be temporary fuel, but if your project is built only on revenge, the second people go quiet, you go dark. So how do we benefit from your anger without letting it become the new prison? That's where Nietzsche enters. Nietzsche talked about the will to power in a way that was deeper than performance or showmanship. Power as the ability to remake yourself, as self-overcoming, not winning a verbal fight, winning yourself. And your will to power has to be directed inward, discipline, skill, control, patience. Meaning, instead of saying, I'm going to win so I can humiliate them, say, I'm going to win so I can prove to myself that I'm capable. The difference sounds small, but it changes the lifespan of the entire mission. And here comes Jung. Jung believed every person has a shadow, repressed parts, aggression, ambition, envy, the desire to control. Nice people bury the shadow and come out looking polite but weak. Shadow integration doesn't mean becoming evil. It means recovering the energy you were spending on denial. In Jungian thought, integrating the shadow expands consciousness and frees up energy that used to be wasted in internal conflict against the shadow. So instead of feeling guilty about your ambition, use it with balance. I want to win. I know it will cost me, and I'm not going to harm anyone. Now let's look at Robert Greene's Monster on a Leash in practical terms. In the 48 Laws of Power, there's a famous law: always say less than necessary. The point here is not to be vague for the sake of it. The point is not to open yourself up to people whose real goal is to inspect you. Talking too much gives them material. Strategic silence leaves them in a void, and voids terrify people. Now let's go back to everyday life and put your tactics in your pocket. Situation: a coworker says sarcastically, "What exactly do you think you're going to become?" The weak response: "No, that's not what I mean. I'm just trying." The strong response: "Agree and amplify." Yeah, and that's the minimum. But tell me this, why does your ambition bother you? Why is that powerful? Because you agreed and enlarged the idea instead of defending yourself, and then you sent the question back to their intention. You just took the game off their ground.
Another situation. Someone says, you need a real job. The weak response: I am working, I swear, it's just. The strong response: frame control. Define real job for me. If real means building a future, then I'm right in the middle of something real. Here, you didn't answer the accusation, you changed the definition of the word. That is frame control. Third situation. Someone tries to provoke you in front of other people. You're a failure, nobody's standing with you. The weak response: how can you say that? I'm struggling. The strong response: strategic indifference. Okay, stick with your opinion. Then go right back to eating, drinking, or talking like normal. Strategic indifference hurts the person provoking you because they wanted to buy your reaction for free. But be careful. The goal of all these tactics is not to win arguments. The goal is to protect your energy.
because success without support is a war of energy before it ever becomes a war of skill. And that brings us to the question people try hardest to avoid. How are you supposed to work when nobody is holding you accountable? And that is exactly why any free person either succeeds or dies, because freedom without a disciplined protocol turns into chaos. So let me give you the protocol that works even when you are alone, even when your support level is 0. First law, the first-minute battle. The moment your eyes open, the negotiation begins. 5 more minutes, one quick scroll, it's going to be a long day. You must win the first minute, because if you lose to the alarm clock, your mind will understand that the leader inside is weak. Tell yourself out loud, get up now. Be harsh for a moment and kind to your life. Second law, deep work. Not working all day. That's a lie people use to feel important. What you need is 2 deep work blocks. Focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. That's Cal Newport's definition of deep work. Distraction-free concentration on a mentally demanding task. Turn off your phone, kill the notifications, and act like you're walking into an operating room. 4 hours of deep work can do what a week of meetings never will. Third law, an information diet. If your mind is your tool, you cannot fill it with garbage. Stay away from news that makes you angry about things that belong to other people. Stay away from drama that steals your attention. Read about the skill that will pay your rent. Read dark psychology so you can understand, not so you can harm. Read social intelligence so you know how to protect your boundaries. Read power dynamics so you don't become an easy target. Fourth law, an evening review system. Before you sleep, ask one question. Did I move the needle, or was I just making noise? Write 2 lines. What worked, what failed, and what step will get done tomorrow, even if you don't feel like it.
That's what lets you build success habits instead of living by your moods. But wait, there's another danger for people who are alone: networking. They'll tell you, go meet people, attend events, hand out cards. Listen to me carefully. Most networking in the beginning puts you in the position of a beggar because you still don't have tangible value. And powerful people can smell a beggar even if the beggar is wearing a suit. So what's the alternative? Build a magnet. Build work that makes people say, who made this? And that takes us back to Machiavelli again in a very intelligent way. He warned against relying on auxiliary forces, because if you lose with them, you are defeated, and if you win with them, you end up under their control. Translate that into your life. If your success depends on somebody else's platform, somebody else's money, somebody else's audience, somebody else's mood, then you are adopted. And what is adopted can have recognition taken away at any time. Build your own weapon, your own skill, your own audience, your own product. Otherwise, other people's weapons will bind you. And by the way, in Machiavelli's discussion of love and fear, he says that if you must choose, it is safer to be feared when the two cannot be united. In your work, that means this: let your results intimidate. Let your level make people go quiet. You do not need them to encourage you. You need them to respect you. And here's the surprise that always happens. When you work in silence and show up with results, people change. Suddenly, the same person who used to mock you sends you a message saying, "Proud of you, man. I knew you had it." And then the final test begins. The test of rewriting history. Imagine the scene. You succeeded. Not necessarily insane wealth. You succeeded, meaning your numbers improved, your body changed, your work now has a name, your income became stable. And suddenly, people who disappeared returned. An old friend, a relative, somebody who used to minimize you. And then they say the words that turn your stomach. We did it. We were with you.
That is an extremely sensitive moment because there is an old child inside you that will wake up and say, "Finally, somebody sees me." If you hand him the wheel, you will lose your sovereignty at the end of the road. Here, use strategic indifference with dignity. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to start a fight. Just become glass. Let them see you, but never touch you. A simple response? Appreciate it, wishing you the best, then go right back to your work. Why? Because their love is not for who you are, it's for your status. And that's natural in human beings, but a wise ruler does not build his heart on shifting sand. But let me give you a deeper layer so you don't become a dry machine. In the end, success without support does not make you hate people. On the contrary, when you become strong on the inside, you become able to give support without begging for anything in return. And that's the beautiful paradox. When you no longer need support, you can become support.
But do it wisely. Do not rescue everyone. Choose the one who has a spark. Choose the one who keeps working even while they're burdened. And that ties directly into Machiavelli's idea of virtù and fortuna. Fortune, luck, circumstances, drives part of your life. But there is another part that you must steer yourself. In The Prince, Machiavelli says fortune governs about half of our actions and leaves the rest, or something close to it, to us. Translate that into your life. Circumstances will hit you, but your response belongs to you. Your commitment belongs to you. Your protocol belongs to you. Your success habits belong to you. And Epictetus would tell you, focus on what is under your will, or you will remain stuck because you are asking for what belongs to someone else. Now listen to this final sentence before we close, and let it wake you up. You are not alone. You are unused. The empty space beside you is not an empty chair. It's a throne still waiting for you to grow into it. And if these words touched something inside you, remember this. Success without support is not a comfortable road. It is a road of quiet power, a road that teaches you to control your emotions instead of letting your emotions control you, a road that teaches you frame control instead of letting people drag you into their courtroom, a road that teaches you to say less and do more, a road that turns you into a ghost until you become a heavy reality. And in the end, nobody is coming to save you, and that is not a threat, it is a gift. If you're still here, then you're ready for it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the rest of the series, and keep your eye on the next video, because what's coming next is deeper and more psychologically dangerous, but it will help you if you're searching for sovereignty, not applause.